Back in March, Disneyland fans were teased with a proposed expansion to the Disneyland Resort, Disneyland Forward. More Disneyland, more California Adventure, more rides, more everything. We've got news, some interesting news. Spoiler alert, we'll give you all the details next on Fresh Baked. Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Fresh Baked. You asked for Disneyland Forward news, and we've got some Disneyland Forward news. It was 7 months ago when this news broke. Can you believe it's been that long? A development that promised an expansion of both Disneyland and California Adventure in the areas that are currently occupied by the Simba parking lot, Paradise Pier Hotel, and Downtown Disney. Half of that redeveloped space for DCA, half for Disneyland. And the two parcels split right down the middle by an extension of the Downtown Disney district. Plus, a potential redevelopment of the Toy Story parking lot into what looked to be a Disney Springs-esque type property. Since then, we haven't heard anything, though I didn't really expect to hear anything. I understood that this was going to be a long-term project. But a couple days ago, a series of notices were made public by the City of Anaheim Planning Department. It's 82 pages of some of the driest stuff you'll ever care to read. But I did my best, and I came away with a few very interesting observations. In the notice, Disney is essentially asking the City of Anaheim to change their existing agreement, the Disneyland Resort Specific Plan. Major changes to the road plans, both the roads that exist today and future plans for those roads. Changes to the Toy Story lot, and possibly changes to the Paradise Pier Hotel. But let's start with the roads. Right now, if you want to park at Mickey and Friends, the Simba parking lot, go to the Grand California Hotel, or even the Paradise Pier Hotel, you get there via Disneyland Drive. Disney wants to close that street. They want to cut it off. Well, most of it anyway. The notice does ask to remove the portion of Disneyland Drive that exists between Ball and Catella, which is essentially every part of Disneyland Drive that we're interested in. All of those places that I just mentioned, the parking lots and the hotels, are all on Disneyland Drive between Ball and Catella. The assumption, of course, is that they need to do this in order to connect Disneyland proper with the newly developed space that's across the street from Disneyland Drive in the Simba parking lot, etc. Both parks, Disneyland and California Adventure, border Disneyland Drive in the areas where they're connecting with the updated space, the Disneyland Forward space. So if a guest wanted to go to Disneyland Forward, they would have to literally cross the street to get there. So Disney wants to close off that street so that guests can freely go back and forth without having to build a bridge or a tunnel in order to get to the other side, or make them cross traffic, which would be ludicrous. Now, the question is, if they do close off Disneyland Drive to accomplish this, how do guests enter the Mickey and Friends parking structure? How do guests enter the Paradise Pier Hotel? Well, there is an answer to that. The notice goes on to qualify that by saying that Disney wants to privatize the road, which means it's not public, which means it would no longer be road, but they only want to privatize the portion between Magic Way and Catella, which makes sense. The Mickey and Friends parking structure and the Pixar Palace parking structure borders Magic Way, and then you cross the street on Magic Way to get to Downtown Disney, or the Downtown Disney parking lot and the rest of Disneyland Drive. So they're saying only that part, only everything after Magic Way would become privatized, which means the other part of the road would still be public, which gives you access now, again, to the Mickey and Friends parking structure and the Pixar Palace parking structure. And we also know that guests don't need access to the Simba parking lot on the other side of Disneyland Drive, the side that borders Catella, because that's going to be new theme park space. But it doesn't answer the question about that middle part, the Paradise Pier Hotel. How do guests get into the middle of Disneyland Drive to Paradise Pier? Well, check this out. This is a map of the entire space that is affected by the Disneyland Forward project. The orange areas are referred to as the Disneyland Resort Specific Plan, which we referenced earlier. The purple areas are referred to as the Anaheim Resort Specific Plan. And then the blue areas are referred to as the Hotel Circle Specific Plan. Those three plans were put into effect by an agreement made in 1993 between Disney and the City of Anaheim, and it pertained to the future development and growth of that space. Couple things. That is the Toy Story lot right there. Some of it is purple. Some of it is orange. We're going to get to that in a minute. That's Garden Walk. It's orange. I won't pretend to understand why that is. Then there's this space over here, all orange except that one purple square right here. That's Simba and Downtown Disney. The purple square is the Paradise Pier Hotel. It's not part of the Disneyland Resort specific plan. It's part of the Anaheim Resort plan. While interesting, it's not the most interesting thing to note. This map is what Disney is proposing, and that square is now referred to as Theme Park West. Is Disney proposing to turn that space into theme park space? Now, it's possible that Disney could be proposing to take over that space, to consume that space as part of the Disneyland Resort specific plan. Note that none of the other Disneyland hotels are in purple. Those are all in orange and under the Disneyland Resort specific plan. So perhaps they're saying, hey, let's take in also the Paradise Pier Hotel. But if they did convert the Paradise Pier Hotel into theme park space, that would answer why they're okay, why they don't have a problem with closing off Disneyland Drive and removing access to the Paradise Pier Hotel, because they won't need access because it's not going to be there. It's all very logical, except for one minor problem, and something that I haven't mentioned purposely, and that's the Grand Californian Hotel, which is across the street from Paradise Pier and also can only be accessed by Disneyland Drive. I don't think they're going to propose to destroy that hotel, and they aren't as part of this plan. Not to mention, I don't think has Disney ever leveled a hotel anywhere on any Disney property? Have they ever destroyed a hotel and rebuilt something else in its place that wasn't another hotel, or anything at all for that matter? I can't think of one. I feel like it could go either way. It does make a lot of sense, though, considering where the hotel sits amongst all that theme park space on that side of Disneyland Drive. And actually, as I imagine that now, as I imagine the Paradise Pier Hotel remaining and resting in between, or surrounded by all, that would be the coolest hotel to be in at this point. Now the Paradise Pier Hotel is the place to be because of the great potential 360 views that you would have. You see the Grand Californian, you also see DCA and whatever new Disneyland property they build to the left and to the right of the Paradise Pier Hotel. That would be pretty cool. They would have to retheme it, of course, because it makes no sense. The Paradise Pier Hotel makes no sense where it is right now as a themed destination. So that's a thing. I don't know. For me, that sounds like a pretty cool thing, a pretty cool idea, which is probably exactly why it won't happen. And they will demo it and build more theme park space there, or I don't know what. Let's go to the Toy Story parking lot. That's this space here. Interestingly, most of it is under the Anaheim Resort specific plan. Just this orange rectangle, the bullseye portion of the Toy Story parking lot, is under the Disneyland Resort specific plan. And I think this is actually one of the main points that Disney is trying to lobby the city of Anaheim to change. Something that we kind of talked about when this news broke initially. They want to make this a Disney Springs-like location, but it would appear they may not be able to under the current agreement. And what I mean is that Disney is lobbying the city of Anaheim to let them do what they want, to put this under the Disneyland Resort specific plan so that they can they can do whatever they want, as opposed to being restricted by the current zoning for the Toy Story lot, which is parking. In the proposed plan, like the Paradise Pier lot, they want to make this theme park space. But in this case, I don't think we need to read this literally. I do still think they want it to be more Disney Springs-like, because that's the concept art. So I have to assume that is their goal, rather than, let's say, actual theme park space. Now, something that makes me believe I don't understand city planning as well as I should, or what the difference is between the Disneyland plan space and the Anaheim Resort plan space, is this orange section right here. That's Garden Walk. I almost feel like it's a misprint of some kind. Disney doesn't own that space, and they're not attached to that space in any way, as far as I know. So how could it be considered part of the Disneyland Resort specific plan? It's a real mystery. I don't quite understand that. I'm going to try to see if I can figure it out. If you understand it, let us know in the comments below. In the proposal, they don't indicate any change to this lot, so whatever the reasoning is in calling it Disneyland Plan, it's not material to the Disneyland Forward project. It is going to be Garden Walk space for the foreseeable future. I'll direct you next to this space. That is being defined as parking overlay. And that would be the Eastern Gateway, and that means it's back on the table for Disneyland Forward, as it should be, because if they're intending to repurpose a Toy Story lot, you got to put those cars somewhere. This little sliver right here, that's the old Carousel Hotel, the one that they destroyed, leveled, when they thought they were going to build the Eastern Gateway. It's now a parking lot. But it appears they are quite literally trying to do the same exact project as before. How they intend to satisfy all those businesses on harbor who objected to the Eastern Gateway initially, yet another mystery. But that's about as clear as this plan can be made at this point. They want to close off Disneyland Drive in order to make one big continuous piece of Disneyland Resort theme park space. Whether or not that includes the Paradise Pier Hotel is uncertain, but it sure makes sense to me. And then they also want to turn the Toy Story lot into theme park space, but not traditional theme park space, something more along the lines of Disney Springs at Walt Disney World. And then a couple more notes. There's a cast member lot at the corner of Baldwin Harbor that they're looking to turn into a guest parking lot. Probably something along the lines of what we already have at Toy Story. The notice references the 1993 agreement, the Disneyland Resort plan, and that it allowed up to 6,850,000 square feet of theme park use. Then it goes on to say that Disney has, to date, used only 45% of that available space. It's explained that this is due to the open-air nature of the parks. But I honestly don't know what that means, because it looks to me, from my layman's perspective, that they've already squeezed every possible square foot out of their current space and made it theme park. Everything else, is necessary for infrastructure and things like that, backstage stuff. I don't see 55% of unused theme park space anywhere. So whatever that open air comment means, I don't understand it. But that's a point that's made in the notice. And then lastly, a lot of you are interested in what the timeline is for this project. How long would this take? When will they start construction? My initial response was I felt like this was something like a 10 or a 15-year plan. I mean, it's long-term, whatever it is, but the notice does confirm that this is going to be done. The plan will be done in phases over the next 30 years. It's a 30-year plan. So stay tuned to Fresh Bake for the next 30 years for updates on the Disneyland Forward project. And then you can also follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked, on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at FreshBakedDisney. And if you enjoy our show and would like to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. And until next time, guys, be safe out there, be kind to one another, and fresh baked.